Hey everybody, welcome to Tattva Tuesday. This is Lindsay Warwick, the conduit on Spotify and YouTube as well. Tattva Tuesday is the spiritual interview series that I am hosting. I'm having different guests come on here and we discuss their spiritual journey, how they got onto the spiritual path and, what they're doing today, any type of spiritual offering. So this week, I'm so grateful and excited, and it's all in epic timing to have Lauren Calloway, your future president, y'all, also a spiritual business coach. And Lauren has just been such a beacon of light in my life, and it's so appropriate as we are filming today's Ostara. It's the spring equinox. It's the start of the new astrological year as well as Aries season. And my girl is an Aries. So this is totally in alignment that we have Lauren on the podcast this week. So what's up, Lauren?
What's up? Super excited to be here. I love doing this with you. I know we do our journey to the heart, but just this quality time and to now share myself and my story a little bit more with people of the world as I work on becoming president of the United States.
I love that. We definitely have to talk about all of the things that are happening with you just because there are so many moving parts right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love having our weekly conversations. I'm on Lauren's Mindful Business Life podcast, The Journey to the Heart, and it's been a really beautiful journey. We started at the beginning of this year and it's just been kind of rolling. And Lauren, truthfully, was the inspiration behind me starting my own podcast. So Lauren, actually, I met Lauren almost 2 years. I don't know. I'm so bad with linear time.
I was yesterday.
I was teaching a yoga class for C Yoga, and Lauren came to my class and we just totally vibed and became friends. And we started hosting like lunar events, so new moon and full moon events at her wellness center. And we just have been we are just soul sisters. And it's been such a great journey to, get to know you and just have you as a friend and, be there for you. And it's just been great, so I'm so excited to hear more about, how you got onto the spiritual path. So I guess we could kind of start there.
Sure. So I always tell the story of, growing up, I would from time to time go to a Baptist church, and I always fought that idea and around God and this man in the sky, is going to strike me down for not doing what he said. And so I was always like competing with my mom, who would just send me to church for like daycare. Ultimately, like she needed a Sunday break, or like in the summer or winter, if there was a camp she could send me to, she was like, that was daycare, like get out of here. So I would always fight with her on like this concept. So I'd be like, there's no man in the sky. There's no man in the sky. I'm like 8 years old saying this stuff. And, she's like, you're going out. It's like, yeah. Maybe, I don't know. So, I grew up in like that energy where like my mom was like, you should believe in this, but she wasn't practicing what she was preaching. So, a very young age, had a very strong discernment and had a very strong like inner sense of being, to where I'd be like, that's not something I can say yes to right now. And my mom, even though she thought it was somewhat rebellious, I know she looks at me now as an adult and goes like, she's very grounded and firm and who she is and what she believes and things like that. But at a very young age, I was like, nah, that's not my vibe right now. And so, fast forward maybe like 3 or 4 years, I found myself doing yoga with that woman on TV. She would be like on the mountaintop. I think she was like dirty blonde, and she was just like doing yoga, and I would just do a little bit of yoga some mornings, or I would put on this African tribe music that I had. And this is middle school, and I would like just dance around in the morning and really had no idea where the freak it was coming from. Just knew like I enjoyed doing it. And my friends would come over in the morning and like laugh at me and watch me dance around and do all this yoga, and they just were like, okay, we're here for it. So then about 2 years later, my brother passed away. He was a baby. He died in his sleep. And that was the spark of like everything for me, where I went atheist. I just could not understand God and taking a baby away. And so I was just like, nah, I'm good on that. I don't need God. I don't need some man in the sky who doesn't like me killing my brother. Like, that was just my feels at that age. And so I was atheist for a really long time, all the way through high school. So we'll fast forward and keep it rolling. High school, I don't remember much. I was very active, but I don't think I had much of a spiritual practice. Definitely didn't go to church. So I turned about 19, I think I was 19, and I was applying for the police department, the Baltimore City Police Department. And I was running, about 6 to 12 miles a day at the time. And I would find myself sitting at this pier at night. And I would meditate and talk to God for like 5 hours. The police would come kick me out, and I'd be like, bro, I'm actually like trying to be a police officer. So they're like, well, you're breaking rules. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is going to be for me. But ultimately I kept finding myself running to this pier, night after night, week after week. And so, I would just talk. I had so much streaming through my veins, through my heart. And I had no one I felt like I could really talk to, because even 10 years ago, like spirituality and being emotional and stuff wasn't really where we were at as a collective, and so you feel kind of isolated. And I really just would go sit at this waterside and just get all my feelings out, all my emotions out. I didn't know who I was talking to, what I was talking to. I just know that I found a meditative state, and that was by speaking all those things that were locked inside of me out. And so it's actually one of my favorite meditation forms to tell people to do. Find a little quiet spot and just talk it out. And so I spent a lot of time meditating that way. And that's really when I guess I started understanding the spiritual journey. And so after that, like I kept it going, even though I didn't follow through with the police department, because I realized I'd rather grow weed instead of being a police officer. So yeah, I kind of chose a different route. But from there, like I started just researching so much stuff, like got into chakras and all that juiciness, and was learning about the colors and what they mean and how to soothe them and how to realign them. And from there, it just started getting into more mindful topics and just deep diving into all these different concepts that I think like just we all know as spiritual beings, but it was just time that I was finally unlocking that knowledge within that I needed to know more. And so just getting really deep into that, like chakras. And I still have a file folder with like all these printouts that like I looked into and things. And I just look back from time to time, and like the Merkaba was really big for me at that time. I was doing so much research on it, and I was just like, this is cool. I've got this light body in me, and I feel like I'm buzzing sometimes, and I could feel that Merkaba, like you can feel that light body moving. And so it was really cool to start tapping in to that in my early 20s. And so moving into more like, I studied with the Church of Jedi. Yes, it is what it sounds like. Star Wars has its own church, and I'm a big dork. So I started studying with them. They make you study all religions as part of like the process to move up into the levels of Jedi. And
I literally fucking love that, by the way. Continue.
Yeah. I loved it. It was super cool. And just like, as somebody who was atheist, okay, I'm a big learner. Like I said, I'm a dork. So it was okay. Like, you don't know as much about all
Yeah.
religions. Let's learn about them and see what resonates and what doesn't. And is God real to you? And so I just started digging into that, and I studied all the religions. Obviously got to Hindu and Buddhism, and was like, oh, I feel a little more called to these ones. And so that was kind of like it. Like, I hit this spot where I think I took like another break, and I took a break for about maybe like, I wouldn't say it was a break, but like the studying settled down a little bit. It was a little bit of a light pause, and I ended up moving to Myrtle Beach to run away from a bad relationship, which ended up following me. um, and so I started meditating again, because like I was just always in these like awful situations with this person. And finally, once we broke up, I just kind of pulled back those notebooks that I had found from when I was studying with the Church of Jedi. I started getting into yoga, doing Beachbody. And then from there, I started going into a studio, taking hot yoga, which then, of course, you're learning all these different ideals and ideologies and points of perspective. And then I was a bartender at the time. So one of my students came in and was like, I know you're doing yoga. You should come check out this other studio. I actually got her to go to yoga. Like, she was like, I go to the studio because of you, even though you don't go to this one, she's like, but I feel like you would love this one. So I went to Inlet Yoga in Merle's Inlet and met Mary Beth McKenzie, who is my guru, my teacher. And it just clicked. I went there and I fell in love with yoga even more, and the whole spiritual practice. And so it was just really cool, to transition like here and there. I've definitely had like spiritual gifts, and when my brother died, I know he was going to die. I heard a song called by Jimmy Eat World, May Angels Lead You In, while we were on the way to the hospital. And like, my soul just knew that was it. And so like, I've always had these moments of noticing my spiritual gifts. I've just never been really like big on tapping in deeper. And so, like I said, going to Inlet Yoga, starting to do yoga. I got my yoga certification, and just really so in love with the practice of yoga, not just the physicality, like its whole entire lymphatic system, right? Everything that it stands for. I just fell so passionately in love with that. And I became a teacher about 8 months later. I just happened to get in right before teacher training started and started practicing with her. So, and then from there, just things started shifting, like I started doing sound healing because I was so called to it, and I still am. I just actually did my heart singing bowl before we jumped on to recenter myself. And
I love that.
Yeah.
You can do that on here too if you want.
Yeah, I'll do a little bit at the end. I'll do a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
So so then it was natural and it was organic. Then I was starting to feel called to do full moon stuff, and I was doing my research on the full moons and how it interacts with each different being and what to expect. And I would do sound healing with card pulls and something different from what Mary Beth was offering. And it was a really great success. A lot of people loved it. I loved it, just tuning in and tapping in with other people to help people manifest their dreams. I mean, I'm just and I hope this doesn't make me cry, because it always does, but I'm just such a philanthropist. I just really love giving to people and helping people see just like how beautiful they are and knowing that they're supported. And that was like the most beautiful thing when I started doing those kinds of things. So
is that your cat?
Yeah. He knows it,
I know, they can feel the energy for sure. My dog was just laying down next to me, and then I don't know where he went. Somewhere.
After teacher training and doing the full moon stuff, I got my my life coaching, business coaching, relationship coaching certification. I got my Reiki 1, got my Reiki 2. I got my Reiki because my hands used to burn and itch all the time. And I couldn't understand. I was like, why? Like, why? And then what came through was, I need to be giving this away. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
And so that's what pushed me to go get my Reiki cert. And, you know, I do Reiki sessions. I do sound healing Reiki sessions. And then from there, I met Ron. He's my gong master. We really hit it off. And, you know, I love gong. So I do a little bit of gong sound healing if I can, but just meeting Ron and like realizing there's so much more to sound healing and there's other tools to use. And I just really am grateful for him and what he brought into my life. And then from there, I was asked to do some marketing for a wellness center and nonprofit for child bullying. And that's when I was kind of gifted this wellness center. And I really wanted it to be a place where teachers could come and teach and have more space and expand their reach. And it really, it did that for a lot of people. I definitely am sad that it's gone a lot because I just know what it was doing for so many. I still get asked to come back a lot. But we just did so much magical stuff there. I mean, I had promised God that if I was financially stable, that I would do a lot of my work for free. And I know with the wellness center, I mean, a lot of my stuff was very reasonably priced. And I did my best to support the teachers and let them, you know, make some money, because when you teach yoga, there's not a lot of money in teaching yoga, not unless you're doing a lot of like big events and stuff. And so, you know, my goal was to give them a place where they could make some money and they could expand their reach. And I think I did that, you know, I think I did that. And it was just soul satisfying. All the things that we did there, the full moon stuff, the new moon, the ecstatic dance, the paint nights, the, I just, there was so much, the yoga classes,
sound healings.
Yeah. Austin came by and did that.
Yeah.
You know,
Austin's sound healing was like next level for me.
Yeah.
That came at a pivotal time in my journey. And I love Austin.
Me too.
He's actually going to be on this podcast in June. I think I have him. He's so fun. I adore him.
Yeah, I was just spending time with him.
Shout out Austin. We love you. If you're listening, you're the shit.
I'm sure I'll see you soon. He's gifting me a sound healing, and my friend's doing a massage because I'm working on her website. So I get
is he? Are you getting a private sound healing?
With a massage at the same time. Yeah.
Girl,
I get a little spoiled from time to time.
You deserve it. You know, you deserve it.
So, yeah, it's been amazing. Just what doors had opened, because, you know, I didn't know I was going to be moving to Charlotte when I met Austin, and he's from Charlotte. And so like when I got out here, it was easy for me to transition. It was easy, but what's happened is just like my spiritual practice has really just changed. And, you know, my discernment has really increased, and my willingness to listen to what resonates and what doesn't, and to realize that what I thought resonated at one point may not resonate anymore. And what fit my consciousness back in, you know, when I was 19, 20, going to the police department isn't what my consciousness is now. And just how like clear I see things is really amazing. I can see people very clearly, their intention, their hearts, you know. I can see we talk about that. Talk about that. You know, I can see the bullshit, and I don't put up with it anymore. Let's say that, right? And then just to, you know, to really feel into moments and to feel what they truly mean, what the lessons are. I'm getting chills now because it's true, you know, just sitting and watching how much I've grown mentally, emotionally, physically, from all these practices. And I don't know, it's just super cool to connect with so many amazing people who are gifted. And then to know that like I'm gifted and that we're all gifted, and that by like doing the work that we do, we help others open their abilities and expand their consciousness. And so it's been a really wild ride out here in Charlotte. People are asking me to teach, and I do some stuff from here time to time. But I am a certified business coach. I own a digital marketing firm called RW Business Solutions, and we do websites, graphic design, social media management, app development. But what makes me a little bit different is that I'm pretty much like a spiritual business coach. I believe in mind, body, and spirit alignment. And so that way you can see possibilities and expand in your business. And so with me, we actually like sit down and we do like either a Kundalini yoga sound healing session before we go into the business coaching, or we might just do a Reiki session. We might do a Reiki sound healing, you know, like there's a lot of different ways I've meshed them. It just depends on how I show up for you, how you're showing up for yourself. I'm very intuitive to what you need that day when I come to see you. I can think I'm going to do something when you set the appointment, and then show up and do something completely different. So, but it's what has helped me expand. And my spiritual practice is what's taken my life to the levels that it has grown to in such a short amount of time. And I've already done a lot of amazing things before I was super deep in my spirituality. I worked for Ron Paul. I worked with NASA in college. So like I have a really cool background in a lot of things, but it wasn't until I said yes to deepening my practice and deepening my spirituality through yoga that I really just seen this whole skyrocket. And a lot of people around me have seen it. And they're like, well, how do you do this? How does it? And it all comes from my spiritual practice and keeping my mind, body, and spirit aligned spiritually and using that discernment. And so my manifestation rate, I've just turned into such a, what do we call ourselves?
Manifesting generators.
Yeah. Like I've
Our
turned
human design.
Yeah, our human design is this manifesting generator. It means we like pump out opportunity after opportunity.
Like literally rapidly and just like master manifestors.
Yeah. And I have, and it's been crazy to watch because, you know, I could say right now that I want something and 5 minutes later it might be here, you know, and I know even with Charlotte, I had prayed, I said, God, I don't want to be, I just said by next summer, I need something different in my life. 3 weeks later, this opportunity to partner and take my business and expand in Charlotte happened. And so I've been really lucky to come into some of those moments. You know, my car broke down and the guy I was working for at the time was like, I want to sell one of these rentals. And he was like, do you want to buy it? You know, like, it was like, you know, when I needed to move, I said, by this date, I want to tell my, my roommate, I want to move out. By that date, I told her I'm moving out. You know, and so, you know, I'm definitely the type of woman where if I say I want something, it's because it's truly a heart desire and it always seems to manifest. And I think that's a big thing for me, right? You know, is reminding people is you got to let go of the generic shit. And, you know, of course we all want cars and we all want houses and like, that's a given. And so like, I'm really pure at heart about what I want. You know, my real goal in life and the real things I want is to offset humanity's like downfall. And that's like by getting us out of the restraints we're in politically, reestablishing the farming community, like everything I want to do in my soul and its purpose is to really just recenter and rebalance us as a society and to inform, educate, and inspire. And so I guess that leads us into like the big thing that like I am running for president and I'm not your typical presidential elect. You know, I'm just a regular old woman, single mom, college dropout, have been in trouble with the law, fucking, have a crazy woo-woo spiritual practice, small business owner, just a regular old person. And, but I do have a background in politics, so I'm not just jumping in like I don't have no common sense. But my spiritual practice is what's leading me to rally in this way. And it's because I want to help man. I want to help man get out of this hole. And that's a heart desire. Like I can say no, no, no. But then what just happened for me this past week, I got offered to be a radio talk show host on iHeartRadio. And so grateful for the opportunity. I didn't think I would get it. But I applied for it, and they had 5 slots, and they probably had over 20 something applications, if not more than that I know of. And I got it. And I know a lot had to do with the fact that I said I wanted to be president, and but people seeing that the passion is there to support humanity and to change the system in a positive way. And it all is because of my spiritual practice. It's all because I feel into the center heart of humanity, and I just want to help shift it. And so mine isn't as like I can see dead people, some people's, but it's definitely
okay.
a practice. Yeah. And, not to be on the sour note, but, my father passed away this week. And last week, I actually heard this knock at my door twice.
I think you talked about it on our podcast.
I think
you talked about the knocking, or maybe it wasn't live.
Us. Yeah.
It was just us, maybe.
And I did. Last week, I heard a knock one night, and I was dozing off. I heard this knock, and I looked at my cameras. No one was there. And then I'm getting chills right now. And then the next night, same knock as I was dozing off. And I just Googled, what does superstition knock mean? And they were like, death. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm being forewarned. And I literally had said to one of my church boys, like 2 days later, like we're talking about superstitions and witchcraft and all this stuff. And I said, yeah, death's knocked at my door. I guess it's time to prepare for what's next. And I kind of joked about it. We all laughed about it. And then sadly, it's not funny, obviously. And I'm sure later I'll cry my eyes out, but then I find out that my dad's passed away. And it's really crazy to be aware now, even more aware. What this has done for me is open me up in my awareness. It's like, you are constantly receiving thoughts and ideas and visions and forewarnings and all kinds of things. Your angels, your spirit guides, God is always showing you signs and signals if you just take a moment to be aware. And so it's really interesting to experience that. And now stepping into where I am at in my heart center with that, because it rips a whole new hole. It puts a whole new heart here. And you have to I'm really going, I don't want to shut down. I want to stay open, and so I hate to say I'm really grateful my dad passed, but, it's teaching me so much about valuing life and listening to the signs that are shown to you. I was forewarned that this was going to happen. Somebody was going to go. And so here I am going, wow, like I hear and I see clearly, and I'm willing to receive those messages. And I'm just so grateful for that expansion, so to say. And I keep saying, like, my heart feels so different now. I feel like a different human being from this. And I'm excited to see where my goal with doing ayahuasca earlier this year was last year was to open my heart, and it did. And as somebody who was very much robotic, my spiritual practice was telling me, like, you've got to open your heart, you've got to shift. And this is just another shifting point. And what this heart opener is doing for me is probably just leveling me up and opening me up to receiving more information and downloads. And so what an interesting experience to be going through right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm so sorry about the loss of your dad. I know you texted me when it happened, and I tried to convince you not to record, but you being you, you know, you wanted to show up and give, like, that's how you are. And I honestly, like, seeing you light up right now while you're talking about your truth and your story, I got like a lot of downloads myself that like this is helping you with your process right now. So thank you for being present and doing this, even though if I were you, I'd probably be on the floor somewhere. Someone would have to come peel me off of it. I
Yeah.
think you're amazing, you know, for sharing all of that. You said so much. There's so much that kept coming to me that I wanted to ask you about. And it's interesting that you mentioned, like, in the beginning, like your spiritual journey of, you know, you're going to go to hell if you do that, you know, this, that, or the other thing. I did a Reiki 1 certification class yesterday. It was sold out. And I kept thank you. I've kept feeling guided to talk about this, talk about religion and Jesus. And, you know, Jesus was a Reiki master. How do you think he did those healings, friends? We could talk about that on a whole other podcast, but
The healing
I,
that God gives.
yes. And I love your journey of, you know, literally like saying fuck you to God, basically, because I got to that point too, where I was like, fuck you, you can't do what you, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Literally, I got to that point and I was wild as fuck in college and at the end of high school and early in college, the whole thing. And then, you know, I went on my spiritual journey as well. And yoga is what opened me up to it. And then I started, like you, pursuing, like, I want to read the Bible. I want to learn about the Quran. I want to learn about all the religions, many rivers, one ocean. And I love that you started back with the fucking Jedi church. I'm trying to go to the Jedi church. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what level? You said there's levels. Like, is it like Skywalker Yoda? Like, is it like that? Like, I'm trying to go to this church. Like,
it's online, thank goodness. But yeah, I mean, I guess ultimately that's, you move into those. It's been a while since I studied with them, so like I don't know how they've reformatted or whatever, but
whatever, sign me up.
Yeah.
But you know what's beautiful about that? It's like you can form your own conception of higher power, of God, and however that communicates to you. And so I talked about that as well in Reiki, that like your experiences of receiving an attunement might be completely different than the person sitting next to you, or the way that you receive messages. Like, you heard the knock, someone else might visualize something, or someone else might feel something. There's all types of gifts that we have. And I love that you said that too. Like, we're all gifted. Like, we are, because we're spiritual beings in these fucking meat sacks, just trying to figure it all out. But I just loved your story so much. And, you know, I know you have been through so much, and like, you just have this big heart and this capacity to just like literally persevere. Like, you are just such a strong person, and you have such a diverse, varied background of experiences and accomplishments. And I think that that's why you and I vibe so well, because our lives have gone you know. And then we also, like, we are self-supporting women. Like, we fully, this shit in here is all mine. Like, I created this, I manifested this reality for myself, just like you have. I also have a small business, which I never even perceived it that way, but I do. Like, I'm an independent contractor. I also work full time for my company, which I love working in both realities. I like working in the matrix, and I like working in the spiritual realm. I like doing it all. And I'm so inspired by you. And you know, we do bounce ideas off each other, and, you know, I can see people too. So like, it's challenging, but it's definitely helping me to grow. And just like you, like, I escaped a really bad relationship. I mean, mine was more recent than yours, but all of it it's all about expansion. And I also feel that, you know, how different am I? Like, and how different are you since we met each other, or
Oh, yeah.
since we started our Journey to the Heart podcast?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
since last week, aren't we different? Because
Oh,
we embrace the shift
yeah.
and we embrace the change, and we don't hold on. We, like you were saying something about, like, I think it was something about like holding on, or just, I don't know, you got to just keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's hard, life is hard. And this journey is not for the faint of heart. And there are faint of hearts that come into this life and experience it. And sadly, they tend to leave us a little earlier than expected. But this life is really meant to challenge you and to say, if you can just keep trusting, believing, you know, the the gold is there. The opportunities, the things that you want is there. And so I really have seen that with my life. If I just keep on trying, keep trying to keep my heart open, keep trying to stay motivated, keep trying to support others, I mean, the gold pops up. And the
Yeah.
and as there's always that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but the rainbow is actually a shit show. you know
Right. And it
Actually,
usually comes out, it comes when you're ready to fucking throw in the towel too.
pretty much. And so I have been through a lot. My dad, who actually passed, almost strangled me to death when I was 15. Molested when I was a kid. Had an eating disorder, just all the things that most people have in this life. I've had them. And I've all I've ever really had in this life, other than my son, but for the first like 20 years, it was just me. And even after having my son, he's a child, so for me, it wasn't, let me be mean or lay the burdens on my son. And it was me just being that strong, independent mom and trying to make the best of anything I could and just working myself as hard as I could to support. And there, as a single parent, it's hard. That is really hard. And I just knew, like, I'm doing it for us and I'm doing it for him. And my spiritual practice is what has saved me a few days when I, felt like I had nothing and no one around to support me. And it's always the catalyst. And the more I lean into listening to my gut and listening to the knocks, or researching the things that keep popping up constantly, I'm just opening that awareness, and I'm connecting to God on such a deep level, and God knows that my soul means well, and that everything I do has the highest intention for humanity. And I think that's another reason why I manifest the way I do. I think that's the reason why so many opportunities, golden opportunities, pop up like they do, because the intention in my soul and in my heart is just that of how can I serve others. It's just, that's it. I know this life isn't just for me. I know this life is a we. And I just really try to follow that wholeheartedly. Like, what can I do to serve my man today? Kennedy said it, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And that's what I'm trying to do. And so it's been a wild ride. I didn't really share this, but about 2 years ago, I met this girl. I was doing business coaching, starting to host events, business coaching. I met this other girl who wanted to host events. And I was straddling a lot spiritually and getting into some more darker things, or things that felt dark for me. And I was just really struggling, because I was like, some of the stuff doesn't feel right. I don't know if it's in alignment for me. And this girl just happened to need some of my help, and I started helping her. And she said, hey, I got this message for you. Are you open to receiving? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, sure. And she's like, well, all those things you seem to be straddling, God just wants you to know, like, you're right, and you should let them go. And I hadn't told her the things that I was experiencing internally. And so she looked at me, and I, was crying at the time, but she looked at me and said, do you think you can turn to God? And without second guessing, I said yes. And I have to say that the biggest catalyst for success and for transformation has been my willingness to lean into God and to believe.
Mhm.
It was the
Yes.
biggest catalyst. It has been the one thing that right after I said yes, anything I wanted has truly started manifesting. And coming from an atheist, especially one being so young as I was, someone who was so like, no, I don't think so, at such a young age, having such a heavy discernment for like religion and going no, that's a really big, that's huge. Because it's most atheists, it takes a lot for us to really convert.
Yeah.
I don't know many that are like, yeah, let me just believe.
Atheist is like non-believer.
Yeah, exactly.
Agnostic is indifferent.
Yeah. And I
So
became
atheist is like, no.
Yeah. And I was like that for a very long time. I was like, nah, we ain't doing that. I don't
Which is pretty, it's just shows how powerful universal source, God, goddess, whatever you want to call it, is.
And I think that, like, for me, so like after that moment, she got a little dark and a little weird. And I was like, I had to step away from her because she was like, your Reiki is the devil's work, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I doing like
Who was that?
I'd rather not name drop
okay. Yeah. We do not need to name the names.
No, it's all good. Let's leave her out of this in case she decides to listen. But so, I could just feel, right? Just feeling into the fact that like she was shifting. She was supposed to be a bridge for me to transpire into this next space. So I stopped spending time with her and I was like, look, God, if you want me to keep believing in you, you want me to keep like doing this God stuff, you got to send somebody my way because I can't. I've been doing enough on my own my whole life. I can't keep doing more on my own. And next thing you know, the Church of Latter-day Saints had reached out, the women that had reached out out of nowhere, added me on Facebook, and then said, hey.
Yeah, see, it's like, it's so crazy how that works, right?
You ask and you will receive. And so
yes,
I met these ladies and we did some video chats like this, and they were just so receptive and so well receiving of my crazy thoughts, and I kind of get a little out there, obviously woo-woo people do, but they're a very spiritual based church. And so like the concepts I was preaching, they were actually like, yeah, we kind of believe in those. Yeah, we kind of like that, and I was like, what? Nobody, what? That's not what churches do, And it felt like home. And so then they transferred me to the church that's closest to my house and met with the elders and grew so close to them. A couple of my friends have met them, just really great people, always checking on me, always coming by. Like I've never met a church that, their whole thing is around being of service, around the people being the pastors. There's no pastor. People preach what they've seen manifest. They've seen God's work. It's a different vibe, and it really resonates with me personally. And so I really enjoy going and just hearing the good Lord's word and connecting in that space. But like I said, it was another expansion level for me. Once I said yes, so much has transpired in such a short amount of time. And if I can say anything to anybody, especially someone who's an atheist or an agnostic, like you said, believe in God, because God is there. And God is everything. I mean, that's the ultimate truth, right?
God is everything or God is nothing.
Right. And so it's like, there is an energy within all of us that connects us to each other, to every little flower, to the clouds in the sky. I mean, it's the oneness that is everything. And that is the energy of God, everything. And so I am really grateful for all the opportunities that have come to me after this turning point in my life. But I have to say, my path needed to be this way. God needed me to lose my faith in religion and find God in the way that was the most truest to me. And it's not
exactly the Jedi church, bitch.
And that's the thing is like, we really,
I love that though. I love that so much.
A lot of people do. They do. And I'm grateful. I'm such a dork, like I said. And
Me too. I love Star Wars.
me too. And so
I'm trying to get to Yoda level at all times.
you're there more than you think.
What would he say? All times I am. I don't even know.
That's
I
it though. But all times you are the master and you are the student, you know? And
I love that he says like do or do not. Like there is no try.
yeah,
It's just yes or no. I love it.
it's true.
Love it. Love Star Wars.
Me too. So yeah, I just think it's a gentle reminder to everyone that like it really is, every step leads you in the right direction, whether it feels that way or not. And you know, it took my brother's step to lead me into the direction of finding different moments of enlightenment, to expanding my consciousness and my awareness, and to being receptive to receiving divine information and insight, and connecting with God finally in the level that I truly understand who God is more now. And I think it's just important. Everyone's path is different. I know the saying is the path is narrow, but it's narrow because it's what's best for you. That's why it's
your path. It's like your soul knows the way, and also spirit knows how to get the messages across to you, whether that be the song that you heard or the knock or any of it, or you know, okay, fine, like she don't believe in God right now, but let's show her this Jedi church and it'll be easily digestible for her to understand.
The seed.
That's exactly it.
Right? But that's it. Like the path is narrow because it is subjective for you. It is what is for you. So I can suggest what I suggest, but if that's not what your path is, that's not your narrow path. And so we're all living our own narrow path. What is best for us? What is going to bring us the most enlightenment, the most alignment, you know, the most success, or, you know, the most lessons. And so I just try to remind people of that. The narrow path, it's not narrow because it's the Christian church way. It's narrow because it is what is meant for you and your growth. So
Charles agrees.
He's my favorite. I miss him.
He's the best. So loving this conversation per usual. We are already like a long time in. I would love for you to share about, you know, how people can get in touch with you if they want to work with you, and follow your journey to become president. And then also, if you would love to do a little like sound bowl action before we close it out, give people a little good juju for the rest of their week. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So tell us, how can we contact you?
So you can find me on Instagram two ways. One is Calloway, Calloway, the number 4, and president. That is my presidential page. It just says, get to know me through all these different endeavors and all that I am. So please follow that page if you really just want to get to know your future president a little bit more. But then I also have my RW Business Solutions page on both Facebook and Instagram. So if you're looking for business support, I'm more than happy to work with you. Like I said, I do business spiritual coaching. So if you just want like guidance on business stuff, we can do those, or we can actually do website development, graphic design, social media management with my company as well. So please just check me out on one of those. What was your other question? I have a radio talk show that I'm about to start.
Yes, that. Tell us about that.
Yeah. The Path to Presidency is the name of it. And pretty much I just want to bring like everybody in, regular people, business owners, you know, people who work for businesses, political activists or politicians in, and just sit down and, you know, get their backstories, get their reason why, figure out what they need, and start really learning and leaning into the communities so I can be the best president for you that I can possibly be. So I can truly, I mean, as a regular hardworking mom who has paid most of everything for her life. You know, I know a lot of what we need, but my goal is to get to know more and more and more in depth, and just spend more time with the community and all the facets and all the layers, and just really just get to know you guys and really show you what like a good, decent human being who wants the best for us can be. And so that's going to be Tuesday nights at 7:30. Download iHeartRadio, and I'll keep more stuff posted. So please just make sure you follow my Calloway for President page on Instagram, and you'll see the links in my on my page at some point. So I'm really excited for that. Probably the first show won't be this week, considering, like I said, my father passed away, but possibly the second week we'll get rolling, and it'll just be introductory in the beginning, and then eventually we'll roll out with people in the community. So I'm looking forward to that.
So exciting.
Yeah, it is. And again, if it's meant for you, somehow it always finds a way to you.
Oh, totally. 100%.
So, you know,
I find that when I relax more, things come. The less that I try,
it's crazy.
better.
You want to be president.
I think that's a song. Isn't that a song? Tame Impala. Less I know, the better. I'm feeling a lot of music. It's your energy. I'm like singing and doing weird shit.
I love
musical stuff. Yeah, less I know, the better is the Tame Impala song. I love that song. But yeah, I feel like the less I try, the easier it is to receive, you know, and what's meant for me is never going to miss me. I love that.
Yeah, it's not. And, you know, wanting to be president is a crazy dream. It really is. But it seems to be like all these opportunities are lining up for that. And so I'm just stepping into where I'm asked to being step into. And so just keep that in mind.
Don't give up the dream.
Yeah, you know, the dream's coming. The dream's coming. So I am going to do a little heart chakra for you guys tonight, like Lindsay said. So if you want to just find yourself in a nice, comfortable, seated, standing, laying down position, and just take a deep breath in through the nose, expand into the belly. Open the mouth and sigh it out. One more deep breath in. Sigh it out. Let it go. So closing the nose or closing the mouth, breathing in nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Expand into the belly, filling the belly, the heart, and the mind all the way up. And as you exhale, exhale from the heart, from the mind, heart, and the belly. And then as you inhale, belly, heart, and mind. And as you exhale, mind, heart, and belly. And just find a nice, long, slow, deep breath with those inhales, and a nice, long, slow, deep breath with those exhales, and just settle in for a moment. Today, I ask that you think of someone that you love. See them in your mind's eye. Start to let the mantra be, I love you. 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 Breathing deep. Visions of who you love. Mantra of I love you. Take a deep breath in, fill the belly up. Hold it. Sigh it out. One more deep breath in. Hold it. Sigh it out. Whenever you're ready, you can start to open your eyes, coming back to life. Just a little sound healing from my heart to yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being on Tattva Tuesday this week. I appreciate you so much. And, you know, if y'all are interested, please reach out to Lauren. She's amazing. And thank you so much. I hope everyone has a beautiful week. Lots of announcements on my end. I am apprenticing a Divine Feminine retreat in Santa Elena, Colombia. There is going to be an info session this week, so just keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a dope opportunity. It's limited spots, only 12 women. And we're going to be working with the Rose Priestess lineage and learning all types of different spiritual practices in the beautiful cloud forest mountain home area where Elaine is located. So just keep an eye out on that. Also check out Lauren and I on Wednesdays. We have our Journey to the Heart, and keep an eye out for Lauren's iHeartRadio podcast. So thank you so much, Lauren. Everybody have a beautiful week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. You have a great week.